How we doing, guys? I'm not sure. Have I just been sat there for like a minute or so? My PC is really laggy today, and it said I was live, but then didn't do the countdown time that it usually does. So I'm not sure if I've just been sat there looking like a weirdo staring at my computer. But welcome, guys. Anyway, I hope it wasn't too awkward joining. I mean, I'll watch it back afterwards and see how it looked. Bad kid, how we doing? Jason Bolt, can you sleep? How are we, sir? I hope you're all good, my friend. For the time being, so please let me know if any of the audio or video is freezing or laggy or anything like that, and I will pause this. I think I've set it to 25 gig power. Am I right? You know, a decent chunk out of my RAM. So sometimes my PC struggles to do other stuff as well, but it should be okay. Document just published. Good afternoon, Kieran. BQPN. I'm not going to be looking at Darwin's today. I'm going to be doing a full Darwin breakdown tomorrow. So it'll be the same time tomorrow session where I'll be going through Darwin's. We can have a quick look today, but I'll do a proper breakdown session tomorrow. Whereas today, I just kind of wanted to carry on some of the discussions that we were having yesterday. Yesterday was a great session because it was just chilled, talking about gaming, trading, building algorithms, and kind of, yeah, the like where I'm headed, where I think other people are headed, and I enjoy those sort of sessions because it's very, I get to know you guys way better, you get to know me better, and I think that's beneficial for, especially for Darwinex, because you actually get to see your face behind Darwinex, like a real person who trades and actually does this sort of stuff day to day. As opposed to, you know, somebody who is employed based on their looks. I'm definitely not in that category. Someone who's employed based on their looks and doesn't actually know diddly squat about trading. Welcome, guys. Hope you're all well. I've had a pretty naff day, if I'm honest. Let's have a look at XAQP. So down 0.8% for the month so far today. Let's refresh this because I doubt I'm in 54th position still. Probably dropped to like 100th or something. There we go. Bang on the money. It's due to, I was in a NASDAQ trade earlier today. Just a simple breakout system. Bought up here, got wicked out, and then it's started to recover. Just typical, exactly where my stuff is. So there's not much you can do about those trades. It is what it is. We move on. I also got slapped on gold. Got slapped on this gold trade, bought up here, got slapped straight back down afterwards. And I also hit stop on the position I was talking about yesterday on dollar yen. For the guys who were in yesterday's session, you might remember this trade. So I've been in it since, what time is this? 5 p.m. yesterday, but it's not 5 p.m., is it? It's 3 p.m. With the time difference. But the exact top here and just grinded against. So is what it is. A short dollar yen today. Hoping to recover some of today's losses because for me specifically, this is a pretty hefty down day. Usually my average down days are like, I don't know, $60 maybe. In fact, I might be able to, I think we can check if we open the report. Let's open this up. So this one. I know that's a strategy I was implementing earlier. Does it tell you on here your average down day? I'm not sure if it does. No, it doesn't. That's a shame. I thought it told you your average down day and average update. Let's check. I think Quant Analyzer might do it. Let's see if Quant Analyzer does it. I'm not sure if you can import that report into it, but we'll take a look. We'll take a look anyway. This is a strategy I implemented earlier. It's the first one that I built with SQX. Done some robustness testing, tested it manually also, and it looks good from all angles. I'll go through it with you as well. So if we just load the report here. Oh, which one is it? Report history. Yeah, this one. Oh yeah, it's because it's not a backtest file, so it won't take a look at it. I'm sure there's a way to do it. I don't know. All I know is my average down day is far less than what it is today, which is why it feels like a bit of a heavy day. But it is what it is. The great thing about having a portfolio or a multi-strat is, even though it feels like a big down day, it's, you know, half of your strategies basically self-hedge themselves, right? So I'm in 2 trades at the moment, as you just saw with my MT5, up $57. So that will eliminate today. Where is it? Today. So if I was to close those now, they'd eliminate 1/5 of this drawdown for the day, which isn't a lot, but it softens the blow. But I'm going to let those run. This dollar yen trade will close in 2 hours anyway, I think. After the previous H1 candle, I'm happy to just let that run for another couple of hours. And then the NASDAQ. This NASDAQ is a bit of a beast of a trade. The target is up here. The stop is down here. It's a 1-to-1 strategy. And what it does is it will track the weekly candles. So it trades like once per year, if that. So it will wait for 3 bearish candles in a row on the weekly, which is this candle, and this candle. It will wait for the first bullish candle, and then it will buy from then. Now, I'm not a massive fan of this last week's candle, but who am I to say how that candle should have looked? You know, from the theory of that strategy and all the tests that I've done, it's good. It just doesn't trade very often. So I'm probably going to be holding that for, I don't know, a week, maybe 2 weeks. So we'll see how that goes. The dollar yen, like I say, will close in a couple of hours, which is fine. Back to that strategy. So this was a strategy I built on Strategy Quant. For the guys who were here yesterday, you'll know I recently purchased Strategy Quant in the Black Friday sale. I've been trying to get used to it, and it seems like, and any who's an avid user, correct me if I'm wrong, seems like you need to build hundreds of thousands of strategies to find 1 or 2 good strategies, and even those strategies might not make it, which is fine. I'm happy to do that. But as you can see, I've been running this test or this builder for 6 hours, 6.5 hours. I built 143,000 strategies. 722 have been recorded into my data bank. I have 909 in there because I did do some earlier on as well. I just had to make some changes to the out sample testing. So when this hits 2,500, I might even, I don't know if you can change it once you've started building. I might change that to 1,000. But when it hits 2,500, what will happen is it goes into the next testing, which is the first period of out sample, second period, different timeframes, slippage, parameter tests, all those sorts of stuff. Once the strategy's been through all those, if it survives, I'll then take it to MetaTrader and I'll test it on specific Darwinex data using real ticks so that we know exactly how it would have performed on Darwinex data. Now, if we go to, where is it? I think it's this one. So this was the backtest report from SQX, I believe. 10353, 105. Let me just double check. So I'm not talking nonsense. Strategy 35105. Yeah, someone. So this is strategy 35105, which is Euro Yen H1 Bollinger Band breakout strategy. You can see I've got a report here from 2003. I don't care about data that far gone. I've just realized how dark I am as well. Let me put my lightsaber light on just so that you can see me a little bit better. All of a sudden, it's just gone dark. It was light literally 10 minutes ago when we started the session. Don't like that color. Let's put a bit more mood lighting on. That's better. Okay, so this was the initial backtest from 2003. Again, people who know me, people who know how I trade, know that I'm not bothered about what price was doing back in 2003. I don't really care. The idea with SQX is to just build something that's more robust and more stable. So the more data I have, the better on that. However, my final judgment period is always 2018 to current date. So I will judge a strategy and whether to put it live in my portfolio from 2018 to 2025. I'm happy to test beforehand, and I do take that into consideration, because if it blew up from 2003 to 2018 and then from 2018 on to now is perfect, it's two completely different things, and we have to understand why. Maybe there's changes that have to be made. Maybe you've curve fitted it for that specific period. So it's nice to know that this strategy, although certain years are good, certain years are bad, it's been on an upward trajectory all the way since 2004, 2003. However, pre-2015, I'm really not bothered. Pre-2018, I'm not too concerned with. This from here on out is my period where I am like focused on. This is what I don't know. I don't know how to read. How do I zoom back out of there? Oh, Christ. Like I say, guys, I'm still getting used to strategy quant. Show all. There we go. The reason I'm not so bothered about earlier price action, and this is a conversation I've had with a friend of mine who was an ex-institutional trader and market maker. And he also asked me this. He was asking how long of a period do I test my strategies for before I set them live. And I was saying, obviously, as I've just said, 2018 onwards. And he said that's a really good way to do it, because if we're thinking about pre-2018, there was barely any electronic trading. Sorry, 2015. I've got a sneeze coming. That's me. Sorry, not electronic trading. Retail trading was far lower. Not that makes a significant change to the volume in the market, but then if we look back at 2003, electronic trading has changed and come on so much since then. So the market has a completely different dynamic. If we all you've got to do is look at prices of metals and indices from back then to understand the difference in I don't want to say the economy, but the market and how you trade the market from now compared to all the way back then. You probably still had guys on the phones. You probably still have the guys on the phones these days. But electronic trading has changed the game so much. And therefore, with that in mind, I'm not too concerned about 2004, 5, 6, because it's just a completely different period. Okay, it's a completely different dynamic. And on top of that, when you're looking at currency pairs specifically, for example, the euro yen, there's so much that has changed from both sides of the economy, from both Japan and from the Eurozone. So much has changed over the years. For example, Japan having negative interest rates for such a long period of time, causing the yen as a currency or as an asset to be traded as a carry asset for so long. For that to change creates a big dynamic shift. Again, meaning if I'm trading a strategy today, am I bothered what it was doing 20 years ago? Not really, because the market was so different. The dynamics of the market was so different. It's just, as I say, when you're trying to test so many strategies, as in what you do on Strategy Quant, when we're looking to test, 2,500 strategies in a day or in a couple of days, taking into account more data, more information is better, because we can filter out the crap and the turd strategies before we even get down to the nitty gritty of robustness testing and checking them on different periods of different samples of data. So anyway, bit of a long-winded explanation of what I was doing, but this is the backtest from 2003 to current date using Dukascopy data, which is free to use on Strategy Quant. You can also download it from Dukascopy or from Tick Story. And so what I did was I took the source code from here. So downloaded the source code from within Strategy Quant. I took it to ChatGPT. I get it to read the code. Well, I actually put it into a TXT file, put it into ChatGPT, and I ask it to explain all of the criteria for the trade. Like, why is it taking a trade? How is it opening a trade? How is it managing the trade? Where's the stop? Where's target? All of that sort of stuff. You can kind of tell from the parameters and from the inputs on MetaTrader. But when we look at the source code, there's, I think, 7,500 lines of code. Pretty much exactly 7,500 lines of code. So I'd just rather give it to ChatGPT and give me a TLDR. What exactly is this strategy going to be doing, and what can I expect on a daily basis? If I pull over MetaTrader again, and then pull on Euro Yen, you can see it's put a sell stop order in. Okay, that's based on a breakout of a Bollinger Band. Okay, move that back over, which is the thesis of this strategy. Now, when I set it into MetaTrader, which again, I'm testing on different data. So this backtest is done on Dukascopy. When I put it into MetaTrader, I tested it on Darwinex data, because that's the platform where I obviously trade it, or trade it from my master account, where I got this as my backtest data. Now, let's take a look at 2018 to 2025. That's all messed up in it. I'd need to see it as out of sample data, but either way, you can see that the curve's not too dissimilar. Pretty flat, slight gains, but pretty flat for the first sort of 3 years from 2018 to 2021. Yep, that looks the same. 2018 to 2021 is pretty flat, and then 2022, 2023, 2024 are all pretty much rampant years. Again, we can see that here, 22, 23, 24, and 25, again, has weaned off slightly, but it's still a positive year. And so because of all that, I've done my Monte Carlo testing as well. I've done all my tests that I usually do. So I've applied that to 2 of my accounts to test it live now. So I'll be monitoring that for the next quarter. And then making a decision whether I keep the strategy or whether I remove it. There's always a chance, no matter how much you do robustness testing, no matter how many times you test it on out of sample data or do any checks you can do, there's always a risk that the curve is, or you've overfitted it to the curve. And so the first 3 months for me are crucial. When I set a strategy to go live, those first 3 months are really, really important, because I'm monitoring, okay, if I was to do a back test in 3 months' time, does it mirror the live data? So commission, swaps, spreads, all of that sort of stuff hasn't affected the strategy, which I do account for in the first instance. This, even though it's run on Dukascopy data, I edit all the commissions and swaps to reflect Darwinex. So it is very, very similar from that regard. But I also want to know, have I curve fitted? Have I overfitted it to that period of time? If I have, then generally moving forward, the strategy is probably going to fall apart. I've only experienced that a couple of times, and I tend to catch it very early on, but it can happen. Anybody can make a perfect backtest. Looking at this, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's pretty damn close. So there's also a high chance with this that I've overfitted the strategy for the current curve. Now, if we'd have over optimized, like looking at this and trying to squeeze like a little bit more out every time, that's, in my opinion, when you get closer to overfitting a strategy. So start tweaking tiny parameters, changing the Bollinger Band settings or the channel settings, the moving averages by 1 or 2 periods, for example, trying to get the better results, as opposed to looking at it and going, well, what's more robust and stable long term? What's more likely to perform the same moving forward going live? And when you're customizing your strategies too much, you run into the issue with going, well, this is what worked for my testing period, and therefore I'm only going to apply those settings, not considering what happens more often, outside of that test period. You can see the max stagnation on this strategy is 624 days. So on its own, it's pretty awful. You'd be trading for pretty much 2 years without making a penny. But as part of a portfolio, it's absolutely fine. Like I say, the strategies kind of self-hedge each other anyway. So even whilst this strategy might be losing, the other strategies might be propping the equity curve up. for example, if I open Quant Analyzer again, you guys are quiet today as well. I don't know if it's actually. Usually there's a lot more messages than this in the chat, and I can see there's a lot of people in PCs playing up because of me running strategy quant. But if it is, let me know, and I'll stop running it in the background. So let's add the euro yen strategy. So here we go again. 0.61% drawdown. Let's change the results to percentage. So over since 2018, which again is my final testing period, from 2018 to 2025, the strategy has done 4.47% return with a 0.61% drawdown. So I'm not looking for a holy grail in any of the strategies that I'm putting together. And this is live XAQP details. Wrong thing. Where are we? This is what I'm actually doing for this portfolio. I'm not just talking nonsense. This is my real trades, my real strategies, my real portfolio. This is live. Okay, so I'm not just some idiot talking nonsense on a camera. This is actually what I'm doing. Load Quant Analyzer back up, and then we're gonna load the rest of my reports. So I'm doing it on the other screen because obviously I've got private stuff. XAQP, re-optimized. And here's all the reports of my other strategies. I'm just going to add them. They've all got an initial deposit of 100K. There we go. So if we just lift this up, you can see I've got all my strategies now listed here below. What's this one? Oh, that's fine. Now what I'm going to do is select them all, create portfolio XAQP. Open that up here. Settings. Now you can see, is that right? 29. Not sure if that's right. Is it 28? No, that's right. Yeah. So I've got 29 strategies active right now. So basically what this has done, and the reason why it's showing 2.9 million is because every report that I added an initial deposit of 100,000 because that's what I test them on. But as a portfolio, that would also be on 100,000. So what I'm going to do is change that from 2.9 million to 100,000, recompute the stats, and then come over to overview. And so that you can see the portfolio with all the strategies combined over the past since there is one trade in 2017. We can ignore that. From 2018 to 2025, we'd have done 126% return with a 1.71% drawdown. Now, of course, that's liable to change when you're trading live with commissions, swaps, and spreads, although I do test them in worst case scenarios. If you take a look at the equity chart as well, if we hide how do we hide the portfolio? Sub equities only. So we can see here all the sub strategies all performing. The main thing is they're all up and to the right. Okay. And the drawdowns of one strategy will likely hedge the performance of one strategy will likely hedge the drawdowns of the other strategies. So you can see each strategy is pretty much condensed down here. There's only one strategy that does a roughly 10% over that same time period, 2018 to 25. All the rest are roughly, let's just say, between 3 to 5%, again, over that same time period. But when we take a look at it with the portfolio all added together, you can see it's completely different story. And then if we look at the smoothness of the portfolio curve, which again, for anybody who's watching this going, he's just overfitted that. Maybe so, but I also have the live results since April this year.
So yes, there is a chance that it's overfitted. However, I run Monte Carlo tests on and robustness tests on all the strategies at a granular level, and then I also do the same at portfolio level. So testing them on their own and as a collective, so that I at least know worst case, middle case, best case scenarios for the portfolio and for the strategies. However, it's still true that some of the strategies will self-hedge against the each other in periods of drawdown and periods of high performance, leaving us with an equity curve that looks pretty decent. It's not the smoothest. Let's take a look at the I'm going to message someone and just make sure that the stream is actually working as well. Okay, so it seems that chats aren't coming through. I'm going to try and pause strategy quant. See if that helps. Right, I'm testing with tail now because I thought it was weird. Like, I'm not seeing any messages. And usually when we're going through stuff like this, I get a ton. So I apologize if you can. Tal can see them. Can you send them here, please? I'm going to get Tal to send me the messages via DM so I can go over them, because I did think it was weird that nothing was coming through. Oh, my life, there's loads. Okay. Tal said, I want to get to know you better. JKVU, 104th, yikes. Yeah. What's my Darwin multiplier? So let me pull that back up. 3.36. So it did start at 4.81, which is why my drawdown was larger at 4.33. As I added more strategies, my multiplier has gone down, but it's been stable at 3.3 to 3.4x ever since the end of July, beginning of August. So I think that's probably where I'll remain moving forward. My goal is eventually to add some strategies, up to 40 or 50 strategies on XAQP before I begin building out my second portfolio, which is LVFZ. Currently using it as a test account for strategies, but this will take over as kind of a secondary portfolio. I'll use it until I don't want to add too much to XAQP because I don't want to over diversify it, but I want to hit 40 or 50 strategies on there, and then we'll likely begin building that LVFZ a little bit more. Just realized they're both the same color ticker. That annoys me because I like different color tickers. But yeah, my multiplier is 3.36x at the moment, and it's pretty stable on that figure. Yeah, Tal knows it inside out. 3.3-ish is it? He's mental. Canis lupus, it's frying my brain at the minute. Yeah, I still feel like that. I'm starting to get to grips with SQX, but it is a lot to take in. Like, it is very intense. Kieran, can you sing I Am Blue? Not on here. Nukem, good day. How we doing, my friend? Document just published. Characteristics changes. This is why some partial hybrid machine learning is valuable, because it adapts the new values, combines statistic, traditional, technical. Yeah, I guess if you're using walk forward analysis, that helps with that, because it's learning as it's kind of testing. But I like to keep my strategies super simple anyway. Like, a lot of the systems that I have aren't too in depth, right? So they're not too complex. Therefore, they don't always need crazy adjustments and stuff. Like, for example, I have a strategy that is a simple bar breakout. It measures X amount of bars in the past, and it will buy or sell once price breaks above the high or low of that time period. So simple. But that's repeatable over 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, because that pattern happens consistently, right? It's not something that's reliant on specific market conditions or specific economic environments. It's something that is based on the chart. However many bars there is, where, like, my point is in 2025, in 2005, and in 1985, there was always 50 bars previously. Maybe not in the 1980s, potentially. And then the price is always going to go above or below that at some point, right? So if you're buying or selling that, it's a very easy edge to be able to find if there's a repeatable pattern over time. Whereas something where you go, the RSI needs to be above 70, the moving averages need to be below price, gold needs to be above $3,000. And like the more conditions and variables that you're putting in, the harder it is to get that as a kind of a repeatable pattern. Canis Lupus, can you get SQX to give you a pseudocode? Yes, I believe you can. I believe you can if you go into the source code section and try and export it that way. CSM, look who's playing with his new toy. I haven't stopped playing with it. To be fair, I just let it run in the background. I may as well run it again because it's not like that's none of the messages are coming through now anyway. So probably affecting it, but it's not changed anything anyway. Hope you're having a good time today. Yeah, other than getting absolutely blasted by the market, I'm having a great day. I feel like you read less the messages from people here now. Kieran test. Yeah. So I apologize. I wasn't seeing the messages come through. Tail, if you could, if more messages come through, just ping them through to me on DM, please, because they're not loading. The last message I have was at 4:01 p.m. from document just published, which was BQPM. That's the last message that I can see. In fact, I don't know if we'll be able to see this. It's just going to create an infinite loop, isn't it? Ah, there we go. It's coming through. Oh, phenomenal. I just look like a pure ignorant liar now because as soon as I moved the window, it's refreshed. There we go. You don't have to forward them on to me anymore because they seem to be coming through now, which is great. Kieran test working. Yeah, fantastic. How are you enjoying SQX so far? I wouldn't say I'm enjoying it because of the steep learning curve, but I enjoyed the process of building strategies, testing them, trying to break them, and then kind of the anticipation of setting them live and wondering, oh, is it going to perform? Is it not? Is it going to blow up? Like that whole process excites me. How many fingers? Too many. That whole process excites me. So that's what I'm more enjoying. Whereas before, using FX Dreamer and adding bits of code myself, it was a very long process. You'd go through, and when I say, like, I don't mind it being a long process, but it's very resource intensive. I have to be focused on what I'm building, the logic behind it, kind of the intricacies. The great thing with strategy, Quant, and I'm still very new to it, so whether it works for me long term, I don't know. But the great thing is it's going to generate all the strategies for me, and then it's just my job to break it. Whereas before, I was having to build the strategies and then break them, and that's where things get a little bit tougher. Let me. There we go. Okay, I can't remember where we were. But this is the baseline portfolio, so nothing crazy. Yearly average profit 15.6%, CAGR of 9.49%, max drawdown of 1.71%. So 1.71. And again, please don't think I'm taking this as gospel. This is a portfolio backtest. It could be far higher. I have got my Monte Carlo statistics somewhere, but we can run one live here anyway. So 100 simulations with 95% confidence level, we dropped down by 4% return, which is fine. It is what it is. And the max drawdown could go from 1.71% to 2.07%, which is I would still be well happy with a 2% max drawdown over 8-year period. Yeah, 8-year period. Now, if we use the 95% confidence level, and we say the max drawdown was 2.07%. Bearing in mind, I test always with real tick data, and I try and keep the commissions and spreads and swaps as high as I possibly can. So that's all included in the drawdown. If we then go 3.6x, the max drawdown my Darwin should be looking at is 7.45. But I also know that there's, if I have overfitted any of the strategies, or if I intervene in any way, shape, or form, which I do sometimes manually intervene, then that drawdown can be higher. So if it's 9% or 10%, I'm also fine with that.
at Darwin level. So I know that this can and probably will, whether it takes weeks, months, or years, this will likely increase to 6, 7, 8%, maybe 9%, if I'm really unlucky. I have a couple of thousand in performance fees. I moved over to, which I was talking about yesterday. Where are we? I don't know if it's come through. I don't know if it's come through yet. No, it doesn't look like it's come through. So I'm waiting for it to clear, but I'm set up as an investor, leverage of 3x. So what I'm going to do when XAQP is open at the beginning of January, I've got 2,000. Where are we? This amount, 2,072 euros, is going to be invested into XAQP, a 3x leverage, which is a 6K investment from me, which means whatever I see on, and this isn't advice, by the way, this is what I'm doing. I'm happy to take on higher leverage when investing in myself, because at the end of the day, it's me who's in control. It means that I will have 3x exposure to this and 3x exposure to this. So over the same time period since XAQP is live, I'd be up 90%, almost 100%. My max drawdown would have been almost 15%. I'm happy with that risk, like I say, for two reasons. One, because it's me in control and I'm a bit of a control freak. And two, it's with performance fees. So even if I lose it all, I'm not too bothered. Let me think. Nukem, is FX Dreamer going to be on the back burner now you have SQX? It's not going to be on the back burner. I'll still use it, and I'll still. So the way I usually do things, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but this is just the way that I usually do things, is I go through periods of building, building and testing, and then I go through periods where I just let the portfolio go for a couple of months without any intervention. So I kind of do periods of mass build where I might build 100 strategies in a couple of weeks, and then out of those 100 strategies only 5 make it through to the end filtering, maybe even less than 5, maybe 1 or 2. But that period allows me to build so many strategies that I then run for a month, 2 months, 3 months, we'll see. Luckily there's only been a handful of strategies that I've ever had to remove from the portfolio, but I don't spend all my time building. The great thing with SQX is that it will build for me in the background whilst I'm doing other things, which is when I spoke about FX Dreamer being very intense or time intensive. I have to sit here thinking of all the ideas, putting them together, testing them, and all of that sort of stuff. So I will still likely have those periods where I'm like, I'll get a little notepad out, and if I think of an idea in my head, like if I read something, or if I watch a video, or if I just think off the top of my head, oh, I wonder what would happen if I had a strategy that did X, Y, Z. And then I'll note it down. And then when I go through my periods of like heavy building, that's when I'll put it together and do all the testing. But like I say, that is very, very time intensive. Mr. Lunary, need to fix the resolution. I can't see anything on the screen. Yeah, to be honest, I haven't optimized it for mobile viewing, which I probably should, because I've gone through I went through the viewers earlier today, and like half of the people watch it on their mobile, so I need to change that. But it's difficult to do it without changing the main screen. But it's something that I definitely need to look into. So I apologize for that. Maybe I can try and do it right now. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I'll have to have a play around with that another time. Maximize. Ugh, it's annoying, see, because if I change something on the mobile, it changes it on the big screen as well, which isn't ideal. But yeah, I'll try and get that sorted for next time. I apologize. CSM, they have a course of 56 videos or so. I recommend checking it out. It's quite good. Yeah, their courses are just so boring. I've been through them all, but I mean, I learn better from testing things out and doing it myself. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. But everybody who I've spoken to says it's a steep learning curve. It is what it is. And yeah, that's the great thing for me is SQX is going to complement XAQP. It's not going to replace it. So I don't mind having a steep learning curve and doing it
doing it over a long period of time, that's absolutely fine. That's what you've been doing since yesterday, absorbing the info about it. Yeah, it's what I've been trying to do is watch, like, again, I guess I do a lot of things like this. I'll batch do something. So I'll do all my research, then I'll go away and test it and implement it. And then I'll be like, there's holes in my knowledge. There's holes in, you know, what I know and what I need to do. So then I'll go back and do another batch of studying where I'll try and fill in all the holes and the gaps I have kind of in my head. So that's what I've been doing. Tal said, if you ever have time, what I want to know is the following. DarwinIA payout was the 3rd of 12th, which is today, and I already received it. And booster 12 months was also 3rd of the 12th, only that's still not swapped over. I know I'll get it. I just don't know why that is with the delay. So the booster payments, I believe, are done at 11 p.m. Spanish time, or it's done at a different time of day. I'm sure, because when that guy was kicking off in the Discord the other day, I was talking to the product team, and that I'm sure they said. In fact, let me get the message up. Who was it? Luis. Booster and permanent allocations pay their performance fees on the date shown at 2300 UTC. Yeah. So it's usually paid at a different. Mrs. put a rug down behind me. It's so annoying. So I think it's paid at a different time of day to your normal DarwinIA allocation payments or performance fees. Today is going worse. I mean, what's a few hours between friends, right? What even is UTC? I get lost with summertime, BST, and all that sort of stuff. UTC, so we're +1. Okay, so maybe in a few hours, yeah. Where was we? LVF said. I'm thinking of cancelling BYXB also. I don't use it for the Darwin. I use it for the actual strategy. But now that my head is going more towards more building strategies, I kind of want to take my focus off everything else that isn't attributed to building that, if that makes sense. And BYXB is a carry trade system, but it martingales into trades, hence why the Darwin doesn't work out well. The master account is up like 16K, but I'm like, am I ever going to offer that out to anybody? No. Am I ever going to put it on funding companies? No, because I'll get banned. Am I going to get paid from Darwinex? Probably not, because this kind of thing will happen where it works until it doesn't work. And I'm kind of like, is it worthwhile, you know, allocating time, resources, mental stress to this account when it's not going to benefit me in any given way? Because I wouldn't offer this out to an investor. It was more of a test for myself. And clearly it failed all the tests. So it's worked and it's made money, but it's failed all the tests. So I'm kind of thinking, get rid of this now, focus on LVFZ is kind of my training ground for XAQB. So that's where the strategies go before they move to XAQB. But I will slowly turn that into portfolio 2.0. CSM, also a little feedback. I see that you're running 2 different stream versions, one that's normal view and one that's like mobile view. I don't see the point of that. It might get messy. And also on mobile, I still watch the normal view one to view the stream better. Yeah, that was it was something that StreamYard implemented. Maybe I'll probably just turn it off, because I agree there's not much point, but it was all automatically done by StreamYard. I haven't physically done anything, but I think I can disable it in the settings anyway. So yeah, I'll do that, because if it's too difficult to see on the mobile stream, I'd rather it just be shown properly. At least then you can put it into full screen mode, turn your phone around and view it properly. Nukem asked in the Discord what are the chances of us being able to change the ticket and customize the color? Changes to tickers difficult, purely because one of the reasons behind Darwinex is so that there's more transparency in the space. Now, let's use me for example. Everybody knows XAQB because I talk about it so damn much, right? Now, if XAQP went on a massive losing streak and basically blew up and went to zero, and I carried on trading it, and I went, do you know what? I'm going to change the ticker, and I change it to, you know, BZFY. Nobody's going to be able to find it, and anybody who's been following it will just basically cease to exist. And that kind of goes against everything that we stand for from a, you know, kind of transparency perspective. So I don't think that the ticker will ever be changeable. I would like the name to be changeable. And I was actually, I had a funny conversation about this earlier today with one of my friends. We were on a call, and he was looking at XAQP, and he said, "Why did you call it Ascension Breakout?" And I was like, "Don't even ask me." But the reason being is because when I started XAQP, I'd only just started really deep diving into building multi-strats and building automated strategies. And up until that point, I'd only built breakout strategies. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to call it something breakout. And then I was trying to think of like a cool name. And I was like, Ascension is like moving up, moving higher. And I had no idea where this was going to go, to be completely honest. I thought it was going to fail and it wouldn't go anywhere, and I'd stay as a discretionary trader. And then things started to pick up and move forward. And I really sunk my teeth into, I really kind of committed to the process and never looked back. And now I'm stuck with a name that just doesn't represent what I wanted to represent at all. It's also not a breakout portfolio. There's obviously breakout strategies in there, but it's not just a breakout portfolio. So I would love it if we had the ability to change usernames, but couldn't change tickers. It's funny because all of my usernames up until this point have, apart from one that I called Slinking, they've all been pretty professional. I've always tried to keep them quite professional. And then this one, I was just like, yeah, whatever, you know, Ascension Breaker. And it's the one that's stuck. So it is what it is. But I'd like to be able to change that. Customize the color is something that I think may be coming soon. We're thinking about offering some customization options. I think customizing the color would be one of them. How will you call the tribe? You in this tribe, Malarkey? And I do want to get that sorted for 2026. We got some big plans for 2026. Some big projects that I'm involved with for the company, and I would like to have my own tribe in 2026. So I will ask and try and get that done. So you're saying, what about inactive tickers and people that are no longer active for multiple years? Well, those stay archived, so you can delete your account fully, but if you have an old ticker, it will just stay on here and it'll say the strategy is closed by the provider. So for example, it'll just come up with this message saying strategy is closed, the provider's closed the strategy. Please note that the Darwin ticker may be in use by another user. I don't know why it says that, because the ticker won't be given out after that. But yeah, this was a shame. This is Maestro. It's just a shame he's closed his trading and moved on. But I know he had a new job and he had a lot of things going on. So, but yeah, it's a shame to see Maestro go. But yeah, I would like my own tribe, my trading tribe. Your tribe, your pride. Do what you love most as a team. Let's take a look. Who would we be up against? Because let's face it, I mean, I've got an unfair advantage here in that, you know, a lot of people would join from the Discord community. So we've got Hobby Code. Now these guys, I believe these guys specialize in strategy quant. So if you wanted some inspiration for strategy quant, you could come and check out Hobby Code. Because I know LRAE is SQX. I think all of these are SQX as well. I did have a list of loads that are based on strategy quant. Oh, Lord. GQIZ was in a post earlier today. Let me see. Let me grab the messages where I've got. Where are you? Let's try PKV. The trading tribes basically basically a leaderboard for educators, influencers, and anybody who kind of wants one, where your guys can be in a tribe, you can have competitions and do stuff. There's not much usability to it yet, but hopefully over the coming sort of year or so, we can add more features to it. It was something that I kind of feel like we never really committed to because of other things that we had. But basically, you have a tribe leader. You can see all the traders within the tribe, their AUM, their positioning, their metrics and stuff like that. Here's a bad example. PKB, TGVF. These are ones that were sent to me by Joanne, who does what I do in Spain. So he's kind of the Spanish Kieran. And he was sending me all of these, which, because I asked him, you know, which Darwins are produced with strategy quant, and he sent me all of these over. So we've got TGVF, VRED. So this is where I take a little bit of inspiration, right? Because I'm like, my curve looks very similar to this sort of thing, but when I'm looking at strategy quant and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing, you know, do I give up and just count and do? I think guys who have proven that it works, and I'm like, okay, there's my motivation, because if they can do it, I can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And so yeah, I do this a lot. Is I look at the guys who are doing what I'm trying to do. TJ. How do you know which ones are made by SQX? So Joanne, who, like I say, the Spanish Kieran, he knows all of these Darwins. I think a lot of them are from Hobby Code, which, like I say, specialize in SQX. So he sent me these over the other day. These are all, he sent me 2 lists. I should be showing you these ones because these are the longer records, I think. IMTZ. If it ever wants to load, that is. IMTZ. This is fantastic, Darwin. This has been around for 2.5 years. So they pretty much started with us when we first launched. 81% return, like fantastic. They've got over $1 million now in investor capital. Huge, huge. I must have missed that. They ticked over $1 million last week or a couple of weeks ago, which we're seeing with a couple of zero Darwins now that are ticking over $1 million in actual investor capital. But this record is fantastic. And this was built with strategy quant. So multiple strategies into a multi-strat fund using strategy quant. 81% return, 10% max drawdown, 1.3 million euros AUM. Just phenomenal. And we got Kaiba. Any meetings coming in 2026? Do you mean meetups, like trader meetups and events? If so, yeah, absolutely. We're going to be doing some Spanish ones and UK ones. Yeah. Yeah, I'll send a list. I'll send the list of some of them into. I won't post it. Oh no, I can just post it. Yeah. I'll post it from which channel, CSM. Let me know which channel you're watching this on, and I'll send it via the comments on that channel. So this is KBAT again, 31%, 32% return, 7.5% max DD, 500k euros in AUM. 230 euros of which is DarwinIA, 315k in investor capital since May 2024. So just a year and a half. It's not as good as IMTZ, but it's still a fantastic start nevertheless. I say fantastic start, fantastic year and a half's worth of record. And we got YJBG. DM in Discord. Yeah, ping me a DM in Discord and I'll send you the list there. That'll be easier. So this one looks a little bit. This one was a little bit tougher. Had a not a bad year, but it was a pretty poor year last year, ending at 6.21%, and completely redeemed it this year, 42.6%. Again, 461,000 euros in AUM, 51% return, 15% drawdown, pretty much, which I'm presuming is from the peak here all the way down to the trough there.
I can message you after the stream. Yeah, just ping me whenever. I've got them all written down, so I can send them across to you anyway. Are they mostly multi-strat? I think they're multi-strat. I think these guys all are, like the ones that have got a longer track record. It's very difficult to build one kind of master algorithm, right? That just works in every condition, every market, which is why so many people build portfolios or multi-strats. Here we got another one, 5.49% max DD with a 48% return. Just phenomenal. You know, look at that. Stunning year. Hopefully he turns December round and December ends well. I mean, it looks like mine, to be completely honest. Hopefully he turns December around and has a full year of green after green after green every single month. Phenomenal, Darwin. I need to save all of these and bookmark them. So this is on the same sort of trajectory as XAQP. And then we have IME, who is a good friend of mine. He's the person who taught me how to build multi-strat funds in the first place. He uses FX Dreamer a lot, and is now also using Strategy Quant with me. Now you can see that one thing that I've noticed is, and I'm only using IME and XAQP as the example for this idea, but our curves are far smoother than the guys who only use SQX as a general rule of thumb. IMTZ put to the side. So that's why I want to have the blend of both. More strategies, lower risk on each strategy, a smoother curve, a bunch of SQX, a bunch of FX Dreamer manually built strategies to try and get, you know, the best of both worlds. Yeah, it's easier to have multiple average strategies than one magical one. Exactly. That is the key. Having multiple strategies, you know, that, like I say, is super simple and repeatable over a long period of time, then just one, you know, one kind of does everything kind of strategy. That just doesn't exist. SYO even. So SYO, who's our second biggest Darwin. Yeah, document just published meetups. Yeah, we'll be doing some in Spain, Latin America, and the UK next year. So this trader has $11.95 million in investor capital. Been growing nicely recently. Got a 10-year track record or 9 years track record. Phenomenal trader, 243% return, 13% drawdown. He's a Spanish algorithmic trader, and even he uses multiple strategies. So I think he trades gold and NASDAQ. Some of the information looks like it's hidden. But yeah, I think he trades gold and NASDAQ, and he has a couple of different strategies on each one. But like his curve is absolutely phenomenal. Like this is the kind of trader that I take inspiration from. Because that's where I want to be in 9 or 10 years. We've got a couple more. AIK. It's a little bit controversial, but it's what I've noticed is the success rate of algorithmic traders or guys who are building multi-strat portfolios. The success rate is far higher than it is for discretionary traders. However, when you get a good discretionary trader, generally they perform better overall. But you tend to see more algorithmic traders kind of succeeding. Have Kepu. Check out a couple more, and then we'll call an end to the session because we're about to hit 5 p.m. and we've been on for an hour. So KEPU. All of these are in gold as well. 6.4% drawdown, 42.83% return. Phenomenal again. Just over a year, so started October last year. Fantastic yearly return, 35%. Growing on investor capital. Not a lot, but it looks like they've just started. It looks like that's not updated as well. So I think what's hard is for Darwin's like this is it kind of feels a little bit underappreciated because it doesn't have the AUM that it deserves, which is why the index is so good, because it's a fairer distribution of investor capital. So hopefully over the next year or so, as index continues to scale, we'll see that where more Darwins will kind of just rise all around and get more and more AUM. This is another one. This is a great curve. Long period of stagnation, I can't lie. So that's like 6 months, maybe 8 months of stagnation here. But you'd kind of look past that if you're doing, you know, maybe I'd be trading this on 2x leverage, but 9%. That's hard to say because it was only 3 months. 12%, 14%. So yeah, they've started to take on investor capital recently, almost at 300k US dollars, 40% return, 9.27% max drawdown. But these are all guys who are using SQX to build their portfolios that we've just been through, apart from IME, who is only now using SQX. So yeah, that's they're kind of the guys who I take you know, a bit of inspiration from, and I hope you guys can too. And anybody who, you know, looks to me for inspiration, I always appreciate that. I get a lot of messages about XAQB and people saying that, you know, asking me questions and asking how I do certain things. But I think a lot of us are still on that journey to kind of become a master of whatever we're doing, right? We all have good periods, bad periods on our record. You know, you have good months, bad months, but we're all still trying to improve, and that's the main thing. And that's what trading and trading at Darwinex is all about. Is just consistently improving and getting paid to do so over time. But anyway, guys, I'm going to call it an end to the session here. I need to go and make my kids some dinner because it'll be bedtime in a couple of hours. So I'm going to love you and leave you all here. I'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. UK time. We can do some proper strategy development stuff tomorrow because I think we did it last Thursday, perhaps. Yeah, so we do a strategy development session. So we'll do that tomorrow. I'll do it at 4 p.m. UK time, again, like today. So, guys, I want to thank you all for the comments. I apologize for the technical issues that we had. I'll stop doing the vertical streams from tomorrow. And I will also try and not run strategy quant whilst I'm on the stream tomorrow, because hopefully, I'm guessing that was the reason why the comments weren't coming through. But hopefully, moving forward, we can avoid that. So, guys, have a fantastic rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're watching this from in the world. And I will catch you in the next session. Peace out, guys.